All right, we're having a little technical glitch back here, so we are only on the app and streaming tonight. If you want to get word to your Facebook friends, you can do it that way. Otherwise, we'll hopefully have that capability to get on Facebook back tomorrow. So for those of you watching on the app or on 14news.com, welcome, and of course all of our other streaming platforms too. We have weather, of course, to talk about, primarily the winter storm threat for the weekend. We have first alert weather days on Saturday and Sunday with accumulating snow possible, and that's basically what we're tracking in the long range. Short term, we do have clouds and a wintry mix moving in overnight, and it will become sharply colder Friday. We do think that the arrival of above freezing temperatures tomorrow morning will kind of mitigate any slick driving conditions over the majority of the tri-state. That winter weather advisory really more for Louisville and Lexington, but it does pick up the very eastern edge of the tri-state, so maybe a slick spot or two there. At 7 a.m. we're already showing the end of the rain, and things will continue to move to the east as warmer air flows in. Our high tomorrow will actually be the warmest day of the week. We should get up to about 45 degrees or so. And then we start tumbling. Thursday, we transition back into the 30s. Friday, Saturday, bitter cold. Sunday as well with a high of 23. And that's where the snow comes into the picture on Friday night late, and then Saturday during the day and continuing through Sunday. Now I'm going to show you a couple of models here. This is the European, which has been consistently keeping the tri-state in snow. And last night we looked at the guidance numbers for how much snow. Remember, we don't really trust these until we're about 48 hours out. And just as an example, yesterday it was showing 12 inches of snow in Nashville. Now it's up to 21, 7 in Evansville. Keep in mind, a 7-inch snowfall, extremely rare here. The reason the models tend to kind of blow snowfall out of the water long range is that over time, small errors in the calculations and in the observations multiply. And so that's why you see these ridiculous numbers, and that's why we typically don't show these on the air. I'm showing them to you here on the stream. I'm assuming you're a little more savvy with weather and realize that these are going to change each day, and in fact each model run. But we've been watching them each day here on the weather show at 9, just to illustrate that point. So the takeaway here is probably some accumulating snow with heavier amounts to the south and lesser amounts to the north, and potentially a significant ice event across the deep south. But again, look at these inflated numbers. 2 inches of ice accretion is just a tremendous amount of ice, and is not likely given climatology and just what typically happens. So, but what it's telling us, what the model is telling us, if you take the numbers off the table, is icing may be a concern across the deep south. Now the GFS has flipped around a little bit. It has put snow back into the region, but it's a little later in the timeline there, Saturday night into Sunday. And as you'll see here, its numbers may be a little more reasonable, but we're still several days out, so we can't really trust any of the guidance numbers. As you still see Nashville here with 16.5, Knoxville with 32. But you know, 2.5, 3 inches of snow, that's more in the realm of what is typical around here for a winter storm. And remember, the winter storm criterion is 4 inches of snow in a 24-hour period. So below that, we would have a winter weather advisory and so on. And for the ice portion of it, the GFS also illustrating an ice threat across the south, but notice its numbers are much lower here. So again, when looking at guidance numbers, these are simply basically markers to tell us where the heavier threat is and lighter threat. We can't take the numbers for gospel or literally at this point. And in fact, we won't really have a handle on inches, or if there will be, until probably Thursday or maybe even Friday. Of course, the closer to the onset of the event, the better chance we have of giving you an accurate prediction on that. So tomorrow, we should have a clearer picture of the track and intensity of the storm. Hopefully the models will kind of get more in sync. They were kind of synced up earlier today, then diverged, and hopefully they'll come back together to give us more confidence in that forecast. By Thursday, we should have a very clear picture of the track and hazards and possible amounts. And then, of course, Thursday, Friday would be the time frame that if things come together, we would probably get some sort of watch or advisory out of the National Weather Service at Paducah. So that's kind of the timeline when we're dealing with wintry weather. 25 degrees out there now, and it's not going to be as cold as it was this morning. We hit 8 degrees at the coldest point and only got up to 30 this afternoon. I believe I was forecasting 35, so I came up a little short there as well. The temperature change, we've warmed about 11 degrees since this time last night, but our temperatures, both the high and the low, are running about 15 to 20 degrees colder than the normal for this time of the year. So, we have abnormally cold air in place, and that is kind of priming things in for that potential snowfall this weekend. January so far has been drier than normal by about 0.4 of an inch of rain, and our monthly temperature there continues to trend down. Commuting tomorrow should be okay. We can't rule out a slick spot, especially on bridges, overpasses, untreated roads, and early, 5 to say 7 a.m. After 7, I think we're going to have the warmer air in place, and wintry weather will not be a concern at that point. So we're talking about a very narrow time frame where we can have the freezing precip and it would stick before the warm air begins to move in. The snow is showing up there in Iowa now. That's part of a clipper that will swing through overnight and tomorrow. But again, as that dives down, it's going to force the issue there by bringing winds up from the south. So it kind of chokes itself out, at least the snow portion of it, by drawing up warmer air. And then by Friday, high pressure has settled in and really flooded the area with that cold air. Our winter storm then starts to come together out here in the Rockies or the foothills and western Kansas and northern Oklahoma. Down to 24 tonight. We are clear now, but we'll cloud up. And then we have that rain or rain-snow mix in the morning, followed by partly cloudy during the afternoon. And over the next 7 days, that temperature will stay on the much colder than normal side of things. First alert weather days still stand for Saturday and Sunday for that potential winter storm. And longer range, it looks like we're going to hang on to cold temperatures through the first week of February and drier than normal conditions as well. We are in the midst right now of abnormally dry to near drought conditions over the tri-state. We have a pet pick for you tonight. This is from Riley Seibert. Paisley and Princess, they're getting all nice and warm on the couch. Normally at this time I would look at your comments, but there aren't going to be any comments because we're not on Facebook right now. That's really the only channel that we can hear your questions and concerns. Hopefully we'll get the Facebook thing ironed out here, and in the meantime I will have new information for you on 14 News at 10. Thank you for watching and have a safe and warm night.